y'all, it's Crafty Hope and welcome. Today is day 38 of ICAD. If you are new to ICAD, it means index card a day. I have been working with two sets of prompts. The first one comes from the originator of ICAD, who is Tammy Garcia. You'll find her online as Daisy Yellow is her website, and she's Gypsy999 on Instagram. Her prompt for today was turquoise, which I knew would be easy because, yeah, I just pulled out some Lucas turquoise paint. And then my friend Nina Fickett has her own set of mixed media ICAD prompts. And her prompt for today was glazing. That threw me for a loop. I don't know a whole lot about glazing, or I don't know. I didn't even look it up. I looked around my craft room thinking I probably have some glazing medium or something around here, and I did find that I have. It's a folk art dragonfly glaze, and it's a full spectrum shift. Y'all, I don't really know how this stuff is supposed to be used, but basically it's a glaze with some glitter in it that has like a bunch of different colors in it. So I thought I'll use that. I'll figure it out. So for my iCads this year, for the most part, I am starting them with some collage. I've got a couple of scrap boxes. You can see that one there on the left. And they have gotten overly full. These are just bits and pieces of paper that after I do a project, I pick up my excuse me. I pick up my desk and throw the scraps that are left over into this box, or yeah, and I went from one box to two boxes pretty quickly, and I decided for ICAD, I'm gonna work my way through some of these scraps because I just have too many. So, and it helps with the collage like this. Most index cards you find nowadays are kind of flimsy and thin, so the collage helps bulk them up a little. Alright, so I've got just a couple pieces of paper down here on this index card, and I decided to put a little color down. I was trying to decide what went well with turquoise, and I grabbed this ultramarine blue from Golden, and I don't know, I put a couple blobs down, and then I'm wetting my paintbrush and just kind of smearing that around, trying to get some color on top of this collage. Y'all, this is a wild ride. I hope you are ready for this one. I had no direction today. I didn't sleep well last night. My mom's been sick, and fortunately, I mean, she ended up going to the hospital. Anyway, she has an upper respiratory infection, so that's a relief. I was concerned it was something worse, so I didn't sleep well last night. And so I was kind of just fumbling this morning, and yeah. So I got that ultramarine down, smeared it around, decided I needed, I don't know, a pop of something else, and pulled out this Marabou aqua ink in magenta and decided to splash it around on the card. I hit it pretty hard in a couple corners too, because one of the corners didn't have any collage on it and it was bothering me. So now I'm trying to work with the turquoise and the glazing, and I thought it might be neat to have some kind of texture on the card. So I'm just using this Dollar Tree stencil I got the other day and some matte gel medium. And I thought it might be a neat, I had a video the other day where I tried to use embossing powder as a resist and it didn't really work. And I'm going to try it again, but then this morning, for some reason, I was like, well, what if I do the same thing with matte gel, but use a stencil? And yeah, this doesn't work great either, but partly because I forgot where all I put the stencil. Because once I tried with this matte gel, it was really hard to see where the stencil was. Yeah, so I'm putting that aside to dry for a minute. I've got my Lucas acrylic paint in turquoise. I'm trying to clean it up. I got a little on me when I opened it. So I'm just putting a little dab in this palette, and then a bunch of that glazing medium, or whatever it is, the dragonfly glaze. And I'm going to mix this up. So once I get it mixed, I decide I'm going to go ahead and speed up the drying of that matte gel stencil I had done. I was looking at the dragonfly glaze, trying to figure out if there were instructions, if I had done it right. Apparently, you're supposed to it's got some instructions about waiting 24 hours and applying several coats, and y'all, I don't got time for that. So yeah, I'm looking at that card trying to figure out where the heck I put that stencil down. And so I'm kind of going over those areas with that mix of acrylic paint and glaze where I kind of think it is. And I'm going to take a baby wipe and wipe it off. Now there in the upper left and kind of down there at the bottom middle, you can see that resist of a glaze. It kind of worked out kind of neat there. I this is where I'm like, oh no, where else did I put this? Did I put it over here? Let me put some over here. I was fumbling, y'all. In the end, you don't really see this resist in the glaze, and it's okay. It was something to try. I mean, if I look hard at the card, and you might even see it in the detail shots I've got at the end. But see, I was kind of feeling on the card like, did I put some here? I don't know. So yeah, I'm just putting it all over the card at this point, then wiping it back off. It's alright. It added some color. I decided somewhere in here. See, can you see that upper right? It looks really nice. So I'm going to dry this real quick, and then I decided that I'd lost a lot of the turquoise color, and I do love a good turquoise. So I'm trying to splatter on that glaze, and it's just not moving enough. So I'm going to just go ahead and make marks with my paintbrush all over this card with that turquoise mixed with the glaze. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to dry this real quick. Yeah, after I take a good look at it, and I'm going to dry it. And I will blot it off here in just a second with a piece of just scrapbook paper, or cardstock actually, I think, that's sitting on the side of my desk. Yep. And I'm going to look at this and realize, y'all, I've made a mess. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this card. It needed something, so I decided what it needed was some black. So I grabbed my Stabilo all pencil and black, and I'm just going to make these big plus signs around on the card, and then grab my wet paintbrush and activate that real quick just to get something dark on here to make it feel, I don't know, have some direction, I guess. Like I said, I was fumbling quite a bit with this card. I do like this background. The colors in it are real yummy, but it took a while to bring this card together. And once again, I'm going to dry it, y'all. There was so much drying in this whole process. I got exhausted from using my heat gun. So yeah, I'll dry this. And then I decide, okay, I've got to start pulling out a focal. This needs a pop of white or fabric or texture on it. So I start going through some things. I've got this painty piece of tablecloth or something that I thought maybe I'd use. And I'm like, no, what I really need is some white. So I've got this piece of fabric, which all this is like a flour sack towel, I think is what they called it, from the Dollar Tree. And it's a really loose weave for a flour sack towel, but I kind of like it. That's what I like about it. So I am pulling that apart, making sure I have it good and frayed, and then I'm like, okay, what else am I going to do? And I realized I really needed some kind of focal, some kind of image, and this fell off my desk the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this. So all it is, I had bought a huge lot of old photos, and I copied some of them. And so that was sitting there on, like I said, it fell off my desk. It was on the floor, so I had seen it. And this lady jumped out at me. So I'm going to throw her there on top of that piece of flour sack towel, move her around quite a bit to realize that I need something else to this. So I start looking, and in my scrap box, I find this piece of rusted fabric, which I had cut a hole out of. So I'm like, you know what? That frames her up really nicely. So I was like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. My battery died there. So I came back and I thought maybe I'll layer some of this rusted paper that was some of the collage I'd used. But I was like, no, that's too much with the rusted fabric. So, but I did decide I needed more white on that side of the card that wasn't getting that focal. So I just took some titanium white Lucas acrylic paint with a little bit of water, and I'm gonna splatter that on the card because yeah, what I needed was more splattered, right? Right. So I'll splatter that and once again dry it. Aren't you glad I cut out all the drying times? All right, so that is dry, and at this point I realize how long this video is getting, but it's gonna get even longer, y'all. We still have quite a few more minutes because, yeah. So I'm just gonna tack all of this down with my Uhu glue stick, and yeah. So first that white piece of flour sack towel, and then my image. Excuse me, I am so sorry. And then my image, and then that rusty frame, basically. It really needed to be tacked down. It wanted to curl and move and all of that. So while my battery had died and I was fiddling with things, I decided I wanted to pull out some embroidery floss, and I had the 3 strands from, whatever it was I'd used when I used the hot pink embroidery floss, and broken it down into 3 strands. So I went ahead and put that on a needle and tied a knot, and decided to make some French knots. Now, this is not my best French knotting. These are kind of messy, but it kind of goes well. The messiness goes well with this page, or this card. So, and all a French knot is, and you see I'm pre-punching a hole, is you bring your needle up. You're going to wrap your thread around your needle several times. It depends on how big of a knot you want. I messed up there. So, and I'm just doing 3 times with these 3 strands of thread. And then you go back in through your substrate next to or near the hole that you started with, not into that same hole. You'll just pull that thread back through. So it's pretty easy. Like I said, these turned out really messy. I was struggling with some of the fibers that were on there, knowing that this was running a little long. I was already thinking ahead about, oh, am I going to cut this out of the video? And I decided here that no, I'm gonna just let myself talk, and y'all can listen to me. I know that some of y'all like hearing me talk and want to see what it is I've done. So I decided to see, but I was struggling with all those threads. So I ended up making, how many was it? It was 5 little knots in that upper right corner of the like frame. I think I've got this one and one more. So I wrapped 3 times. I go back through and I pull that tight. And then I'm going to do one more time up on that upper right. And the pre-punching helps, because if you know where you kind of want to put something, it helps to be able to turn it around and find it, rather than just poking random holes and things. Now, if you like the randomness, sometimes I do, I'll just not even worry about the pre-punching of the holes. And then to bring that color and kind of the feel of it, I'm going to go down to that lower left corner of the frame as well and make that one. And then when I get that done, I'm going to realize that that bottom bit of fabric that's hanging off is driving me absolutely crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it down just a little, because it just felt too long. And then I'm going to tie off my knot in the back, my embroidery floss. Somewhere in here I'll do it. Yeah. So I'll tie that off, and I decide, oh my gosh, all this has gotten so long. I really just need to pick out a sentiment and be done with it. So as per me, I'm going to grab my small talk stickers from Tim Holtz here in just a second and stick down the phrase, "It's always the small pieces that make the big picture." I can't speak. It's always the small pieces that make the big picture. And I'm picking it out in white because, again, I felt like this felt so heavy and the white would pop. I will cut this down, and off camera I did add a little bit extra glue, just that Uhu glue stick, to the back of my sticker to make it stick really well. And that is it. It was a long one, but I really do like this one. I hope you do too. If you do, make sure to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you have any questions, and come back tomorrow and see what I make for ICAD. Thanks, y'all. Bye.